Hey, hi, Craig. Let me introduce you, Craig, because you're a guest and you are a man of many talents. So Craig is in the QI team alongside me, and he is the QI fellow in the team. And I'm sure he can explain a little bit about what his role is. And I don't want to talk for him, but he has kindly agreed to join us today to talk about his role. And he is very heavily involved in the way that we work with service users in QI, and he trains service users in QI, and he is instrumental to many projects going on at the moment, not only to improve the numbers of people that attend and service users and carers that attend our training, but also the authenticity of the training itself and their involvement in QI from beginning to end. So Craig is a genius as well. And he is a great man with many academic talents. So Craig, take it away.
Oh no, thank you, Kate.
What an introduction.
Oh God, I feel I'm just trying to start my video. No, I just feel very privileged. I think this is a great opportunity because I'm trying. Can you hear me okay?
Brilliant, yes.
Yeah. Sometimes my reception goes in and out. No, it's a good opportunity to kind of share ideas, and for me, it's like a healing journey. So the more I can be creative and take risks in presenting and communicating, definitely it kind of helps me. Yeah, it's definitely therapeutic, and it's like a healing, meaningful journey. So no, thanks. It's great to
excellent.
Yeah, to be given the chance to speak today.
Fab. I was wondering, Craig, do you want to explain a little bit about what you do as a QI fellow to everyone here?
What I had an idea, like there was something you were going to present that we've done as a team. It wasn't there later on. I was going to just present a couple of slides that I prepared about my role. Is that okay?
That sounds brilliant. Yeah, totally.
Let me just, if you can kind of say a few things. I've just got to finish the final slide. It's been a bit last minute.
Okay, no worries.
I had just I had a lot of inspiration come to me at the last minute. So if you could give a bit of the background.
I can, yeah.
Start to share.
Yeah, no worries. So every 3 months, ELF run a session for service users and carers to, it's a 3-hour session currently on Zoom for service users and carers. And this is a training day that anyone who's interested in getting involved in quality improvement can attend, and we work quite closely with PPL, who are people participation in ELF, to recruit and to find service users and carers who would be interested in coming along to this training. And the training itself is run by QI coaches and QI experts that have been trained within ELF who also have lived experience. And there's 4 or 5 of them, I believe, who currently run the training, and alongside a representative improvement advisor from the QI team, and also representatives from people participation in certain directorates across the trust. And that's something that happens, every 3 months. And I think we tend to restrict the numbers to around 10 to 15 attendees, just to make sure it's a really intimate training, and that it's something that people can sort of there's plenty of time for open questions, and it goes through a little bit about the history of QI and how it all started at ELF specifically, and obviously the model for improvement which we use at ELF, and examples of some of the kinds of involvement that service users and carers can do. And also there are specific QI projects at the trust that are run and led by service users and service user QI coaches. And Craig is involved in one of those at the moment, which is looking at, like I mentioned before, authenticity of involvement. And I think that based on feedback from people in projects, staff or service users. There has been discussion around what, really, we talk about big I and little I involvement, but what does that look like, and what really does authentic involvement look like? So Craig's been working in a project team to really focus on that with service users, and from that has come out a charter, which aims,
I'm ready.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
No,
Well,
ready.
I'll stop talking.
Oh yeah, no, I
Okay,
want
Craig.
to hold back some of the surprises.
Okay, cool. You go ahead now, Craig. Thank you.
I just want to say thanks for this chance. I've got to share a few slides, and I hope I don't take too much of your time, but for me it's a great experience to kind of being creative and taking risks. That's part of the healing journey for me, and it's great to have a platform, like a really supportive, encouraging platform to do that. So just when I came in, people were talking about stories, and I think telling the journey of the role and what we do for stories, really, I find it's the most way for people to communicate and for people to remember. So originally, I started off doing people participation at Elft, and I was in a QI forum, and it wasn't chaired very well. It was really unstructured. A lot of the service users and carers, I'm a carer as well, we didn't really know what the purpose of the QI forum was. And then at the end of the meeting, somebody said, "Oh, who's going to chair next?" And I didn't know that question was only open to staff members. I just felt, "Oh, let me help. I can kind of help you." And because before I went through a few traumatic events, I used to chair a local community forum, and luckily someone trained me how to chair. So I thought, oh, I'll chair next. And seemed like there was quite a lot of fear in the room, because I didn't know it hadn't been done before. And apparently, if a service user volunteers to chair, there should have been like a health and safety assessment. I didn't know any of these things. So basically, I chaired the meeting. I think it was like a month later, and it kind of went really well. And kind of what I learned is sometimes people plan improvement and they plan involvement, but often it could be limited, very prescriptive steps based on assumptions, projecting limitations onto other people, whereas actually it's just great to have the space to kind of do something you're good at. And what I realized is chairing the QI forum, I think I was one of the first service user chairs to do that within Elft. It gave me a lot of confidence, and it made me feel that I could restart my career. It connected me to old skills that I had that I'd kind of given up on, because also I'd done teaching and mediation. And what I realized is that I don't know if it's the medical model. I think that actually doing something meaningful is healing, because sometimes you need the reason to get out of bed each day. And chairing the QI forum and people feeling I was doing a good job and actually helping, I realized I would structure the meetings in a more democratic way, so every person in the meeting had a voice, whether they were a service user, a carer, or the director of services. They all had an equal voice in the meeting. So actually making a difference, I felt like, okay, I can kind of restart my life again, get my confidence back again. And I just wanted to show a couple of, I haven't shared a screen on Zoom before, but I want to try and share a couple of slides if I can, just to kind of illustrate.
Yeah, so down the bottom there's an option that says share screen. You should be able to, if you need some help, just give us a shout.
Yeah, 1 second. Thank you so much. It's great to have.
You're very welcome, Craig. Thank you for
Yeah, because some of the ideas are it's almost like I need to show them visually, but for you guys to make sense of them. Okay, great. Right, let me try and do it again.
I must say, in the QI team at Alpha, we're really lucky to have Craig, because he's always coming up with different creative ideas, especially in our team meetings we have every week. I think Craig would try and get us to present in interpretive dance if we had the opportunity. Always different creative methods that are really, really good for us. You know, just really good for us to think differently like that.
Thank you.
Anyway, we can see your screen now, Craig, so it looks great. Thank you.
Great. So I think what I learned through, I think what was healing about QI is that actually when you're stuck, say, for me, struggling with OCD, you're stuck in a cycle of kind of having to do stuff perfectly so you don't feel anxious and you feel back in control. But then it is kind of, hold on one sec. Yeah, let me try and move this down if I can. Okay, cool. That's it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, yeah. So again, it's this cycle of having to do stuff perfectly, and if you don't, and you make a mistake, you've got to get it more right next time, and it's quite enslaving, really, because it doesn't allow you to take a risk. Whereas kind of in terms of teaching QI, which we actually did it yesterday, I've learned that the PDSI circle's really good, because when I'm presenting stuff or teaching stuff, if I make a mistake, I'm actually thinking of all the things that I've done well, and it's a cycle of improvement. So I think it can break people out of the brain lock. And what I realized through this experience, and I would go to a lot of quality improvement conferences when we did them in person with ALF, and people from the IHI would talk. And I would often say that QI is a way of being, you know, it's a feeling. And often the IHI people from America would agree with me. And I realize now that it's a healing way of being. And so when I'm teaching, I'm thinking, how do we create that feeling for people? You know, so I understand QI is very mathematical as well, but how do we get the balance of making it accessible and easy? And I think that what I tried to teach when we were on the course yesterday is quality improvement is meritocratic. If you can test something and create a good solution, it's the value of your solution, and you might be the newest member of staff, the most junior member of staff, you might be a service user, a patient, a carer, you know, someone like me, but if your solution works, you've got as much value as the whole chief executive or someone, a staff person with much more status. So I think that's the beauty of quality improvement. And when we're teaching, for me, it's how do we empower people to be improvers and to solve stuff? Because if their perspective and way of seeing from their own experience of using services allows them to create good solutions, like why not, you know? Yeah, so I talk about the history of QI, and can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. So basically, what I learned, you know, is that often some of the best inventors and healthcare inventors would be labeled now as a service user. Maybe it's better they weren't labeled as a service user then, because they might not have, you know, had the limitations. So Florence Nightingale, you know, I would say was, you know, an inventor within healthcare, early healthcare in this country, believed to be bipolar. Some of the other examples are more obvious, but like Abraham Lincoln. So for me, he helped get rid of slavery in America. He had depression. Obviously, you're all familiar with Winston Churchill. He solved the problem of how do we bring the country together to win the war. You know, I know he's a mixed person, and we might debate some of his achievements, but I think when we kind of create training for service users, how are we kind of bringing these potential geniuses forward? You know, how are we creating that inclusive, democratic environment where we can kind of create space for the very best to emerge, rather than this prescriptive thing of like, okay, we believe you might get one step further, you know, we've got to keep you safe, you know, we're going to give you, you know, we're going to assume, okay, you might make that one little achievement and that's well done, you've done really well. Actually, there's so much more to go in the evolution of the service user experience. Thanks for bearing with me. I've just got a few more things to share, but I really appreciate you guys kind of allowing